Hello, it's Tuesday, October 21st, and we're going to have a short video. Well, probably not going to be short, none of these are. I've decided to change the way I have made the brass pieces function on these music stands. If you watched any of these before, you know what the effort I've put in to the stands, but for a variety of reasons, mostly for the fact that I want to create these stands in a way that there's no movement in them whatsoever. And if I turn this around, we can talk about that a little bit. I really like these captive pull pins that we came up with, where you pull that out and let the stand fall, but turn it to the setting you want, and then the pin goes back in and goes into these quarter-inch holes. So that has always worked nicely as far as the instant adjustability of it. It's always hard to do this with one hand, but you know how that works. And then the pin down here is just a quarter-inch pin you pull out, and you raise and lower the post to the height that you want. The issue that has bothered me is that I just haven't been able to create these in a way where there's no movement. So I have movement in this bracket here, and while I could probably tighten up somewhat the gap in here, it's just by itself it doesn't move at all. But once you put it all together, there's just too much movement, and by the time you come out, any little movement down there is accentuated by the user out here, and I don't think that's acceptable. I also have had movement in this rod itself. I've created a new post that's over here, and we'll talk about that, where I've come up with a better technique to make these posts so that there's not a lot of movement there. But in the end, what I've decided to do is to go away from this adjustment where it's done by a pin that just goes in, and I've created two pins that are tapped. So we're going to start with this pin, which is a 3/8/16 bolt set inside this hex rod, and that's going to go into the base. Now what I'm going to do is put my camera in my little stand here, and hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate how these are going to work. That's tightened in there. So you can see down at the bottom, right now I have a new hole that's put in here where this 3/8/16 pin will go through. And to make this function, you pull this up, and I have now tapped all of the holes that are in this rod. So there are two improvements. One is I have just plain old improved the way this piece comes in and out of the center post. There's much less movement in there, which I'm very happy about. But now by putting these tapped holes in and then putting this rod in, I can just set that in, tighten it down. It takes, a little bit more time than just pulling it in and out, but I'm okay with that. So now that tightens this riser post significantly into here, so there's no wiggle whatsoever in there. I'm very happy with that. Now the other pin is for the adjustment bracket, and that looks like this. It's 5/8 18, I think, is the thread count on this. Anyway, I'll tip that up. Hopefully it'll come into focus when we go over here. So that's going to go into my D brackets. So where before these were quarter-inch holes that just had a pin going through there, these are now tapped for a 5/8 18 thread count. And so it's the same thing. You just turn it to the specific angle you want, and let's put it on the 45. Set that in there, and you just make sure you get it started and turn it down so it's tight. And now that tightens this piece in here, and so there is now no more wobble whatsoever. So I'm sacrificing the ease of pulling the pin in out and quickly moving it. I'm sacrificing that feature for I think a very acceptable feature where you tighten everything down and there is no movement. The whole idea with these stands is that you're going to set them up and you're going to keep it here for a specific period of time, and it's not for the high school band to move in and out, that sort of thing. And even if you do, in a performance or something, want to change it, I think that little bit of time to make that adjustment more than it compensates for the fact that now you gain stability in these stands. So that's my new technique. I'm very happy with it. There's now just really no wobble in here unless you're just moving it yourself. Everything is sturdy. I don't hear any rattles. So I'm very happy with that. So that's the update on this latest music stand development.